This is Africa for Real. I'm your host, Mercy Okorie, alongside these lovely ladies. And we thank you for joining us today on T.I.A. for Real. Yes, it's February, the month of love.
Hey,
Are you excited about
New
that?
Year, actually.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. You had resolutions about the new year? I know
Oh my God. I have decided that I want to be a vegetarian. I've tried it for 1 week. It's hard. I ended up eating meat this past weekend, so I have definitely not kept the resolution.
Okay.
I'm planning to go to the gym more often. That's in check, so we'll see how that goes.
Nice, nice. So no meats,
No meats,
goods,
no
or anything
meats.
like that.
Does that mean no fish as well?
No, I can still take the fish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's not even fish. She's got What about you, Annie?
I think we have excuse me, about the same resolution, weight loss after the twins, and it's been over a year, so, and trying to be vegetarian kind of, but just basically getting the family eating healthy again, I think is important.
Why are you going vegetarian now? What's the deal with that?
I think I've noticed that when I eat meat or certain things, my body reacts a certain way, and I don't like the way he reacts. And I have like when I go without it, I like the way I feel. And when I reintroduce certain foods, I see how my body reacts, and I'm like, I don't like this. So that's the reason. What are
Me,
yours?
I have to eat meat.
You have to?
Bread is my enemy, so if I stay away from bread for the most part, then that's when I can, I won't turn into a muffin or anything like that. But just balance. I think overall, balance is my key thing, whether it's with work or with family or with personal things that I want to do, but just balance, knowing how to work hard, but then also rest and relax and kind of refresh is the thing. So just overall balance, food, everything. So that's my
Good
deal.
resolution.
Yeah, and take it a day at a time because, yeah, before you know it, you just
Yeah.
skip the whole thing and, yeah.
That's nice.
So now moving on to February. Love is in the air. Now, what type of Valentine are you guys? What about you? Are you more of like the flowers girl or you like chocolates or what is it?
I don't like chocolate.
So you would rather go with flowers?
Yeah, I think I would rather go with flowers. I don't like chocolate. I mean, you can bring chocolate, it can stay there for a year, years, come back. If it's still good, I'll give it to you, but I just don't like chocolate.
Okay.
But my husband loves chocolate.
Okay.
But
So do you give him chocolate or he gives
No.
or he just doesn't give you chocolate? He knows what you like.
no, I think what I like is for him to write for me. Like, I was cleaning out our stuff and I found like some old postcards and letters. Like, our thing was like butterflies, so it was like, he got this card and he wrote, I love you, I love you. And I don't know if you know, like in Africa, when the teacher want to punish you, they have you write the same thing over. I will not do this. So when I saw it, I'm like, was this punishment? He's like, I love you, I love you, I love you. And drew butterflies all over. So I really love to have a card, because they last. I kept all of those sweet words and stuff that he sent me, so that's really cool.
I don't have anything going on, but I have an African ball to attend to, so that would not have the Valentine's. But I do love chocolate, and I'm like you, so chocolate and a big teddy bear will do.
Oh, so you're a teddy bear. I was wondering, you like want something to
Something
Okay.
old, So yeah, teddy bear will do for me instead of flowers, but I do love chocolate.
Yeah, I've never been a chocolate person. My kind of candy is just the straight sugar. Then you just, it's really bad. So, but I want my teeth. So, so more of considerate things. Like we don't even have to go to like a fancy dinner or anything like that. Like surprise with just remembering things that I talk about and implementing those things are I think just a sweet aspect of it too as well. So.
I think Valentine's is actually overrated, if you ask
You
me.
think so?
Why do you have to wait a whole year to celebrate? If you love someone, that should be an everyday kind of deal.
I hear you, but I think my perspective is that it's just highlighting the importance of love. Not just, I know it's become commercialized a little bit, and it's all about, by force, and some people like get rid of their relationship just so they don't have to buy anybody anything.
That's
Ridiculous.
crazy.
Yeah, have you seen that?
And speaking of which, February is also Black History Month.
Very true, very true.
Do you have any events to do with Black History that you're all doing, or?
I mean, just the whole aspect of remembering all that have gone through so much for the freedoms that we have, not just we're Africans, but we're enjoying a lot of freedoms because of the African Americans that were in the U.S. and all over the place that stood their ground. So it's a lot to celebrate. I mean, it's a lot to celebrate. Love, Black history, And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. This is Africa for Real. And we're back. 50.
Oh.
Set in Nigeria. 4
Lagos.
women. You saw it. Lots of complex situations.
Too much
Ladies,
drama.
what do you, okay, go ahead, Manuel. I know you're ready to
Fire.
unload. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's just too much drama. I mean, I saw a lot of negative stuff, but when we had a discussion prior to the show, you guys brought up some interesting things that were good that I didn't even pay attention to.
Okay, let our audience know. What was the negative things that when you saw what you saw?
The
what
negative
was it-
stuff
what
is
was it
just too much drama. Like one of the main character was one of the main character was the gynecologist, renowned and all that stuff. But she goes and sleep with her daughter's boyfriend, some young guy. You're in your 50, you go and sleep. I mean, it's just like, and she's acting as if it's okay.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. Let me just say I'm sorry, and then we can just move on. That's, to me, that's just foolishness. That's selfishness, and I don't think no.
But I think what I loved about the movie is even though that is negativity, these are things that are actually happening
Yeah,
in
real life.
society. So the characters portrayed what's happening out there. We're having mothers who are sleeping with their daughter's boyfriend. We are having people who are married who are sleeping with married people. So I think something that this movie actually portrayed is the reality of life.
I choose to just, it's true, it's portraying the reality of life, but how many movies do we see, whether it's in Africa or the US or wherever in the world, how many movies do we see that are like talking about doing the right stuff? There are
Something
not so many of
positive,
those
right?
movies,
Where are
like
the
the
role
movies
models?
that we see, Fast and Furious, there are a bunch of like outlaw people doing, and we're praising these things, like, okay, I need to go and steal something because whatever, so we need to have more movies that are encouraging people to do the right stuff. I don't see anything wrong with showing what's going on with society, but that one friend that was sleeping with her friend's husband, at the end they got together and was like, oh, we're so happy for you. No, that's
Spoiler
messed
alert,
up.
man.
I'm sorry, that's just messed up.
So now watch
I would not allow it. And as a friend, no, I'm sorry. I can't be your friend. I won't be calling you to say, oh, congratulations. No, that's messed up. Because if you're able to do that to me as a friend, you could do it to somebody else. And if you as a husband, if the guy she's with now, if the guy is able to do that to his wife, he's going to do the same thing to you. So
Right.
what makes, you can't build your happiness on somebody else's misery. That's impossible. That's not the way the world revolves.
And you know what? Some people are out there just simply, it's revenge, it's retaliation. Obviously, you could tell she did not like Tola, which is, in the movie, the husband, she takes her husband family. So it's obvious that there's a lot of resentment there for Tola, the reality show star there, and so she really didn't care that she was taking her husband. And wanted to spite her, obviously. So I think it shows a lot about friendship when it comes to the women that are there, but to what extent is loyalty good? Like, are you going to tell your friend when you all are, you're going overboard, type of thing? Are you going to keep it real when you're making wrong choices and how they can affect what's going on? So, but I think there's a lot of real relationship, a lot of complex situations from rape, and the silence that goes with it sometimes, things that are untold, but then there's also positive things there like religion and how there's one couple that they find a way to come together and communicate to as well. So, and then they show Africa in a beautiful, beautiful light too as well. But we want to get your take on 50. It's a new episode. It's on Netflix. Essence had a great article about it too. Welcome back. This is Africa for Real. We're talking about 50, the film by Mo Abuda, the executive producer of Ebony Light Films and Ebony Light TV. A lot of topics, very complex issues. We're talking about grown women, but they're making some mistakes, you would say, that young girls should have,
Yeah.
should have. So what are your takes on that? Let's talk about the cougar, the gynecologist. Obviously loves her young men. Now, would you ever, well, first of all, would you ever, or have you ever talked to a young man?
Well, age is relative. Young can be a few months.
Well,
So would you, it's that, few months, yeah, I think I have, just a few months.
Okay.
But years, no. The age of my brother, or no, I would never do that.
Now, love has a way of changing. All these people are talking grammar now, but when it comes to it, you meet some nice guy, he sweeps you off your feet.
oh, please.
Now, of course, I'm not talking about doing. I don't personally believe in just having just being free, one night stands and all that type of thing like that. But when it comes to love, people do crazy things.
Is it love or is it lust? That's the question. Because they're not going anywhere. Obviously, excuse me, in the movie, the gynecologist, her level of education, her level of, life in general is much higher than this young man. He's still
In school.
in school. He's a young boy. His mind is not there. So how far can they go? And I think it's pretty evident from what we saw that he only ended at sex. There was nothing else. They went to the club, they partied, that was it. It was just sex. There's nothing beyond it. And at the end, you're gonna still be older, and he's gonna go for somebody that's younger and has more money. So it's a no-no for me.
Okay, now one of the actresses played reality star TV. Now her character was very aggressive, and you would think, I know there's never any excuse for infidelity, but what can we learn from a character like that when it comes to her behavior? I think she was, and obviously there's a background to why she kind of is, how she is, but what can we learn from women about how we communicate in marriage or how we talk to men?
I think to me, there's no reason or justifiable way to say that infidelity should be tolerated.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to communication, personally, I do not tolerate infidelity. So to me, that's a no-no.
I mean, a definitely no-no for me. I don't want to share my men with anybody, and I don't think he wants to share me with anybody, but I think, you talked about the character, there's some issues there. She was molested by her father,
right.
And the whole family was covering up,
keep it quiet.
for all these years, and one of the character, we found out towards the end that it was her son.
Spoiler alert. Manuela, you're welcome. If you haven't seen it,
Okay, sorry.
okay.
But we need to learn to talk in African societies about true issues, things that are there, not just cover it up, because people are hurting.
Right.
And, then it leads into other things that are not necessary. There was no need for her to be that hateful. She obviously had not dealt with issues.
Exactly.
So.
So that you could kind of say that there's a root to everything, and if we're able to deal with these as women, as we're growing up, as we're going along too as well, we can have healthier relationships in the future as well. So moving along to the next couple, where we had the wife that was kind of fitting the bill at home, and her husband was doing his thing in terms of trying to find work and everything like that. Now, how important was communication there? She had a secret, a very big secret. Normally, marriage should be about sharing everything and being open and kind of supporting one another, but she felt like she needed to keep it a secret. Your thoughts on that?
I think communication is key when it comes to marriage. Holding such a big secret definitely is one of the root causes as to why divorce is prevalent in a marriage, because marriage is an institution. So when it comes to communications, once you're married, you're supposed to be able to communicate and just tell everything to your partner, whether it hurts the person, because if you really love someone, you should not hold a secret from them. Yeah.
Well, I from what I've read, I read a lot of books on marriage, and I did my undergraduate was like in family relationship. There are three things that lead to divorce and marriage. There's sex, lack of communication, and I think the third one is money. And that couple had all three. The brother wasn't getting any. What else?
She was in church now.
No, but still, not only church, she was working so much. By the time the guy was all fired up, didn't he take Viagra too or something?
Why don't you do like 2 push-ups or something?
Oh yeah,
Don't quote
something.
me. Go ahead and see the movie.
So by the time he was ready, she
was
fell
tired,
asleep. She
yeah.
was tired, and then she was working, and he was gambling. So they have financial issue right there. So, but I'm glad that at the end they were able to communicate and move on. But those are the 3 things that can lead to a breakup of a marriage or any relationship.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of topics, a lot of issues that are addressed in the movie. And I think sometimes when people see themselves outside of themselves, they're able to address things because you really don't know. It's like, hey, this is me, and maybe it's easier to deal with issues. So we're talking about 50, the film by Mo Abudo, executive producer of Ebony Life Films. So see it, let us know what you think about it, talk about it, Facebook, social media, let us know how you feel about 50 and how you feel about the show. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Africa for Real. We're here with Susan Wokedi. She's a Nigerian-American award-winning writer, producer, filmmaker, actor. Famous films, Mind of the Enemy. So many, to talk about. I have a list here. You should have had several awards from all the way back 2009. Tell us a little bit about your journey. When did you start in filmmaking?
Filmmaking or just
Okay, your inspiration. When did you start in general in terms of interest in acting?
since high school?
Okay.
High school, something I've always wanted to do. Childhood dream, if you will. Was acting in some Hollywood type movies
Okay.
that were coming to Houston. Did a stand-in on some major films, and then I featured extras and had an agent.
Okay. So your career actually kind of started here in America, or is it all the way?
Well, actually, I grew up here. So,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
so most of my the passion, the vision, everything came here.
Okay.
I did go to school and study theater arts,
Okay.
University of Houston, bachelor's in theater arts, took all the film classes I could, and then after that, got a master's from Full Sail University in film and education technology.
Okay. So when did it blossom from actually acting to like saying, okay, I want to be behind the scenes, I want to start producing and getting into the movies myself?
Well, I always say that acting is like my first passion, but the whole thing, anything entertainment, I love the whole aspect of it. I guess it was back in 2007. 2005, my first behind the scenes was I was production manager on a film. So, it gave me it allowed me to kind of see things from a different angle, the whole perspective. Yes, being an indie film, as an indie film maker, I know that, you don't really work hard. It's like your hat, you can be the actor, the producer, the writer, the director, all in one. So even though I was the production manager in that film, I was also doing a whole lot of other things. So I didn't know that some of the actors on there took notice. So in 2007, when I went to Nigeria for the first time, I left as a child. That was my first time going back as an adult. I started writing a story, which eventually became Mind of the Enemy,
Wow.
Which was a story that I was inspired to write because of what I saw when I went to Nigeria. To me, I call it bittersweet,
Okay.
because to me, Nigeria is a beautiful country, beautiful demographically, beautiful people, but the leadership sucked, at least when I was there, so that left an impression in me, so I came back and I wrote that story. Around the same time when I came back, I got a phone call from a lady who was on the set of the film that I was the production manager for. She'd written a story, and she was looking for someone, and she said that I struck her as the only person who kind of know what I was doing, during that time. So she wanted to do that film, so I asked her to send me over the script. I looked at it. It wasn't anything to write home about, so I took the script, took it from 30 pages into 130 pages. And then got a director, we teamed up, produced it. So that was my first official production. You know, so from that on, I was told, you're such a good producer, you should just produce, you know, so, but I mean, I act, still, I write, I do it all.
What was it like seeing that go from the starting project that it was to blossom and then seeing it on full screen like that? Just to see.
Euphoric. It's a euphoric experience. I mean, it's like, you know, you hearing people speak your written word. You know, it's like, it's just, I don't even know if I can, I mean, it's a very, you just sit here like,
Yeah, it's like,
wow, I wrote that. You know,
the
so
definition of wow, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Now,
Yes.
Secret Past was here, premiered here in Houston. And just to see the turnout, I know you partnered with Mohammed Ba for the movie. Talk a little bit about just that concept and then the partnership there. And
Secret Past was another movie that after I went back to Nigeria and I shot Night of the Enemy, came back, and then again I got a phone call. You know, fast forward, I produced a few more movies before Secret Past, and then Might of the Enemy came along, and then I came back, and they wanted someone to help them produce the film. So they called me, I got on board. The Enemy came back, and then again I got a phone call. You know, fast forward, I produced a few more movies before Secret Past, and then Might of the Enemy came along, and then I came back, and they wanted someone to help them produce the film. So they called me, I got on board, read the story, liked the story, and then went to work. So we, you know, I'm one of the EPs also, one of the executive producers as well as a producer of Secret Past.
Okay. Now, we earlier in the show, we talked about 50, and I know some of your inspiration for some of your films come from seeing Nigeria and what it's all about. What's your take on 50?
To be honest with you, I loved the thing that I liked the most about 50 was just the filmography, the whole, the setting, the way it showed, you know, it was very beautiful.
And it wasn't just about just the poor side of Africa.
No, it was, yeah, it was
used to, right?
Yes, it was, you know, it's something that I would do. I have so many scripts. That's all I do. I write. I get stressed out, I write. I get upset, I write. So I have so many scripts and so many concepts. And so a lot of my scripts, you know, it depends on what the story is targeting. I do some social stories. I deal with specifically social problems and, you know, things like that.
Okay, so you give it a thumbs up in terms of 50?
I have a lot to dissect when it comes to 50. 50 has a lot, yeah.
We got to save it for another time
Yes.
too as well. But I think, you know, there's something we must do, every one of our guests has to do, and Becky will talk about that.
We have a game that each of our guests has to play,
Okay.
and I have 3 darts. So I will have you have 3 trials to play the darts. So
Okay.
behind me is the dart bowl.
Oh, okay.
And we have 21 questions. That's the name of the game.
Okay.
So if you're lucky and you hit one question with the first dart, that's the question you'll answer.
Okay.
If you're a superstar and you hit the center, you get to ask us questions.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
This in advance.
Same here.
Okay, so when do we start?
Right now.
Okay.
Here she goes, Susan Wakedi with 21 questions.
Not the middle.
Not the middle.
Go to the middle.
Oh, okay. Let's see what you have.
The 20th one.
And your question for today, has anyone ever broken your heart? If yes, how? And how did you feel about it?
Almost definitely, you know. Yes, I have been heartbroken, and yes, it was painful.
How did it happen? What was the reaction? Painful?
Painful.
I think that must have been painful. You don't even know how to
I
describe
mean,
it.
yeah, it's such a long time ago, it's not even relevant anymore.
There you go. You see this one knock, I should just be on heartbroken from years
He
ago.
wasn't the one, he wasn't, yeah.
So it all works out, right?
Worked out, yes.
Awesome. So let's talk about real quick, any projects you have upcoming?
Several.
Okay, let our viewers know.
Yes, yes. I have probably about 6 projects that are pending release right now.
Okay.
My TV series is the one that I'm really trying to push right now.
Okay, Single Wives.
Single Wives Club, y'all. I mean, if you think 50 was something, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Wow.
Single Wives Club is a series. We have drama, we have live lessons,
it dives into the social elements. I'm not going to go into details. I
You gotta
want
watch
to keep
it, right?
juicy. Yes, you gotta watch it. We're working on the platform. We're hoping to get it on Netflix, among other places. So that's one of my biggest things that I have coming. I just wrapped a film this summer. It's called As Long As I Am. It's in post-production right now. I do have some other films that I worked, that I starred in or co-starred in for other producers. One that I also co-produced called Hopeful Journey. We're hoping to do a premiere this spring. Then I have a couple of films that I'm in that are showing in African Magic back home.
Wow.
So there's just a lot of
Staying
good
busy,
things. God is
staying
good. Yes,
busy.
God is good.
Yes, if you want to keep up with Susan Mulcahy, how do we do it? Tell us about your
I mean,
time.
you can, besides Googling me, but I have an IMDb, you can, I have a Facebook page.
Okay.
I do have a private page, but it's more geared towards my profession, my other life, education. You can Instagram me, I mean, you can
So
tweet me
it's Susan Mulcahy, just like that?
on
or is it-
Instagram,
or-
Susan.Mulcahy.
Okay,
Twitter is at I am Ngozi.
okay,
Facebook is, just Google me, really, it's all there.
okay.
Yeah, because I don't know the Facebook handle,
Okay.
yeah. So,
Nice. Well, we thank you so much for joining us
my
on
pleasure,
T.I.A.
thanks for
For
having me.
Real. This is Susan Mulcahy, writer, producer, the whole 9 yards. Beautiful Nigerian award-winning producer. So thank you so much again for joining us. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back with another episode coming soon, so you gotta keep watching. This is
It's
Africa for Real.
I know.